Welcome back. Today we are going to discuss October month current affairs based question part 3. In this part 3 we are going to discuss 10 questions. We are going to cover topics such as geography, especially mapping, organizations, economy, governance. So let's take up questions. So look at 21st question. Which of the following countries shares boundary with Lebanon? Why I have asked this question? Already I have discussed in last video about ammonium nitrate. Why I have discussed? Because explosion or blast happened in Beirut, that is Lebanon's capital. This blast and explosion is not a normal explosion. It has killed more than 100 people and destructed port infrastructure completely. And we have last time we have discussed about ammonium nitrate properties and their uses and whether it is in pure nature it is explosive or not. I'm not going to discuss them now again. So let's look up this question. Lebanon. Which of the following countries shares border with the Lebanon? See, Lebanon. Lebanon, this is Mediterranean Sea. Okay, what is this? This is Israel. This is Syria. Here Jordan will be there. This is Lebanon. This is Gaza Strip. This is West Bank. So Lebanon shares border with Israel and Syria. It will not share border with Jordan. So answer is 1 and 2. Moreover, you should remember that whole map because Lebanon is in news, Syria is in news, and Israel is in news, Palestine is in news, that is Gaza Strip and West Bank is in news. So better to remember all these 4 countries borders and which country shares border with Mediterranean Sea. Like this you should remember, because UPSC has asked many times countries which share border with Black Sea, countries which share border with Caspian Sea. Now it may ask countries which shares border with Mediterranean Sea. So definitely you should be ready to answer this question. Come to the 22nd question. Which of the following statements is correct regarding Sir Creek? Why I have asked this question? Because here This is Sir Creek. Okay, what Pakistan has did, it has included actually this Sir Creek. One second. If it is this is a gap, and this line, this is this middle line, this divides, this is international border between Pakistan and India. Okay, this is Sir Creek. This gap is Sir Creek. Okay, this gap, in this gap, the middle path divides Sir Creek to Pakistan and India. So the part of this belongs to India, part of this belongs to Pakistan. Now Pakistan, what it has done, it has included entire Sir Creek under his border now. That's it has released its new map. In this new map, it has included entire Sir Creek. This is actually a disputed area between India and Pakistan. So this will be this can be asked, because here Sir Creek is there, here Kori Creek is there. So what else is the border issue? Kala Pani. With whom? With Nepal. Nepal also, what it has done, it has included this Kala Pani area, like if it is India, here Uttarakhand will be there. In this Uttarakhand, here Kala Pani will be there. This is Nepal. Nepal included this Kala Pani area, which is a disputed area between India and Nepal. This is also an issue. So Kala Pani, Lipu Lake, Limpayadura will come here. So here this is issue is there, here this issue is there. UPSC may ask in these two anything. So you should be ready to answer this question. So Sir Creek, where it is Sir Creek? This is Arabian Sea. So and this here the Sir Creek is there, right? The water comes from where? Here one thing will be there. This is Pakistan, right? This is India, this is Pakistan. In Pakistan there is one lake called Nareri Lake. From there the water will come and fed in this Sir Creek. Actually this Sir Creek original name is Banganga. It was replaced by the British as Sir Creek. So this is wrong. If you eliminate 1 1 1, answer is B. But what you should know here you should know this Nareri Ganga. Okay, and it is only part of the Sir Creek located inside India, obviously, because it is divided. This is India part, this is Pakistan part. Now what Pakistan has did? Pakistan has included completely. So come to the 23rd question. Which of the following statements regarding St. Petersburg Declaration is correct? And one more thing I forgot to say here, Sir Creek and Kala Pani we have discussed, that is Kali river. Here it is above the water only, here it is above the water only. Kali river brings the disputes. So now what else? Pangong. So this is also a dispute with China. Okay, one third of Pangong is under India's control, two-thirds under China control. So these three areas you should remember. Come to the 23rd question. St. Petersburg Declaration deals with what? Deals with tigers. See, when it comes to tigers, we have covered on tigers a lot of topics. That is, UPSC may ask anything. One about Project Tiger. Another thing about tiger reserves we have covered in previous videos. Another thing means all this was in news. This was in news, established in 1973, and about National Tiger Conservation Authority we have discussed who is the chairman of it, under which law it will come. I have explained you. Now we are going, national part is over. Now internationally it is in news, that is St. Petersburg Declaration. In this declaration, who adopted this declaration? 13 tiger ranges countries. Okay, you have to remember all these 13. It's very easy to remember also. We all know India, Bangladesh, Bhutan, Nepal, Thailand, Myanmar, Russia, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, China, and Malaysia. These are the 13 countries you should remember. These resolutions only will implement Global Tiger Recovery Program. This much you should know about the St. Petersburg Declaration. And you should know that only these 13, in the world there are only 13 tiger ranges countries, and these 13 ranges countries has adopted this resolution. That's it, you should know. Now only tiger ranges countries adopted is correct. 13 tiger ranges countries. The resolution implementation mechanism is called a Global Tiger Recovery Program, correct. Russia is also part of the resolution. Answer is D. So with this question we have completed everything about the tiger. You should be in a position to answer any type of question. Which of the following agriculture systems are recognized under globally important agriculture heritage system? Okay, why I have asked this question? Because farmers in West Bengal, that is in Sundarban, they are trying Kerala's seawater tolerant rice variety seeds. Why they are trying now in Sundarbans? What happened to Sundarban? See, we all know that Sundarbans will be like this, completely like small islands. What happened when cyclone hits the Sundarbans? These small islands is known as chars. Okay, you can see these pathways, right? These pathways is known as Khals. Okay, when the water goes very fast into these pathways, this is chars, islands. These islands will be guarded by the embankments. Okay, what happened? Because of the water speed, the waves will increase and these embankments are destroyed. Now what happened? Over the years, they have been destroyed and water started including into these islands. Now previously these islands were less saline. These island soils are less saline, so they are fit for the agriculture. Their normal seeds, traditional seeds, they used to use and they used to cultivate. Now because the salinity started increasing, that's why they wanted to use Kerala sea water tolerant paddy seeds. Paddy saplings. Okay, this is the reason why they have agreed to use this. But why this is in news? Because this is in news because this rice variety from Kerala is coming from right, that is known as Pokali variety. Okay, this Pokali variety is used in where? It is used in Kattanad farming. What is Kattanad? Kattanad is not any district or place. It is a farming which is used in Alappuzha, Ernakulam, Thrissur districts combinedly. These combinedly it becomes a region that is known as Kattanad farming region. Okay, this region is recognized as a one of the globally important agriculture systems. Like this in India there are only 3 regions, heritage systems, agriculture heritage systems has been recognized. Okay, what are there? One is Pampore saffron heritage of Kashmir. Another one is Korakput traditional agriculture. Another one is Kuttanad farming. This is answer is D. This is started by which organization? This is FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization. It is UN specialized agency. UN means United Nations. So come to the 25th question. Which of the following statements is or correct regarding Kisan Rail? So Kisan Rail, Kisan Udaan, these type of schemes are very important that UPSC will ask. Kisan Udaan. So definitely you should know about this scheme. It was first started in 2020 August. That's why it is August news. Obviously, from where? Maharashtra to Bihar. If you want to know particularly about the place, it is Devlali. Devlali. In Bihar, it is Danapur. Okay. Previously, this train used to run for only once a week. Now they made thrice a week due to demand. The main aim of this Kisan Rail is perishable agriculture products can be transported to different places with less time, so that farmers can fetch good price and their income can be doubled. So what are the futures of these? Farmers or anyone who want to sell can book a consignment. For this consignment, there is no limit. This consignment can be as low as 50 to 100 kgs. If you know this much, it's enough. So come to the options now. And you should read about the Kisan Uddan. It is started by Ministry of Civil Aviation. This is also with the same object, with objective to increase the farmers' income and their market access. So first ever, it is correct, from Maharashtra to Bihar, correct. There is no limit on the size of consignment, yes, correct. Only farmer can directly book their, no, this is wrong. Not only farmer or any other interested party can book. So you remove 3, answer is A. Come to the 26th question. With reference to the regenerative agriculture, if you remember why I have asked, this is in news, however, why I have asked vertical farming. In 2020, UPSC has asked on vertical farming 2 questions. So anything, if UPSC finds it is new, though it is not new, vertical farming, still at the time, if it is new for UPSC people and aspirants also, and many people got confused about vertical farming also. So like that, this is also new for the UPSC aspirants and for UPSC also. So there are chances that it may ask, what is regenerative agriculture? In the name itself it is there, generative and regenerative means agriculture is a whole system, right? Cultivation, growing crops and harvesting, all these things, soil health, land health, everything will come under agriculture. Okay, so regenerative of this everything means what? Regeneration of soil, regeneration of land, okay, the way crops are been using, and fertilizers, which fertilizers you are using, that also regenerative means here changing these fertilizers, pesticides, okay, all these things will come under regenerative definition. Okay, see, regeneration of soil, regeneration of land, regeneration of fertilizer, regeneration of all this means what? It's a revamping completely agriculture. Why we are revamping? Because this agriculture causing a lot of trouble to the degrading soil, land, water and etc. So we are using these regenerative agriculture to restore the soil health and to increase the soil health and land and water and etc. So we are going for organic or by using some permaculture techniques. So this is how this regenerative agriculture works now. So what is the options now? It is conservative and rehabilitation approach for food and farming system, correct. It is based on philosophy permaculture, correct. So answer is C. I have asked this because just in UPSC always ask like this, any new term, if it finds this new term, it is in first time in news. Okay, in recent years, this is the first time, for the first time it is in news. So UPSC may ask vertical farming. For the first time it was in news in 2019 and 20. So it has asked. Come to the 27th question. Which of the following is or reasons for the occurrence of landslides? Why I have asked this question? In Aravikulam National Park, landslides has occurred, but that's why I have asked about the landslides. You should know what is landslides first. Landslides are the movement of These are rocks. Movement of mass rocks or debris. Okay, along the slope. It will move along the slopes, and it will what it will cause if thousands of rocks, lakhs of rocks moves with high speed. If they move, what happens? They will cause lot of destruction to the houses, to the agriculture fields, to living organisms, etc. So this is about the landslides. But how these landslides occurs? See, if these landslides, these rocks are in a stationary position, okay, they are like this for hundreds of years, nobody moved them, they are like this. But suddenly if vibration, you imagine you keep some sugar or some stones on your chair, try to make vibration, they will move, right? They will move like this. If earthquake also comes, land will vibrate and this will vibrate and they will move along the slope. This will cause damage. Anything which creates vibration, what can create vibration? Earthquake can create vibration. Even volcanic eruption, when volcanic eruption happens, it will also create vibration. Okay, so that also will happen. This one thing, this is about the vibration. Okay, now these rocks are settled on ground. Okay, some trees roots will be like this. Okay, they will be, trees roots will be acting like obstacles. Now imagine, now you have deforested these trees. Now what happens? There is nothing to stop these rocks now. So if some little rain also comes also, this will flows down the slope with high speed because there is no roots to stop them like this. So deforestation also causes landslides. Likewise, on patch of land, okay, these rocks and debris or something undisturbed, they are undisturbed. Now what happened? Now government will think that we will lay road here. Okay, when government is trying to lay road here, what happens? This land area will get, this land balance will get disturbed, so automatically again landslide will happen. So all these four are correct, so answer is D. So you should just think which, take a plate and put rocks on it and try to disturb them in slant position, try to disturb them, they will move down, and try to vibrate it, they will move down, and try to remove the obstacles, they will move down. So it is very simple. If you just apply that logic also, you can solve this question. Now 28th question, which of the following are the components of balance of payments? So the Ministry of Commerce and Industry has said that India has surplus balance of payment. This is a huge statement, so it may be asked in UPSC. So what are the components of balance of payment? There is current affairs and current account and capital account. Okay, under current account what will come, under capital account what will come? Imports, exports, trade balance. Trade balance means import minus export or export minus import. Invisibles. In invisibles there are many things, that is non-factor cost, services, income, private transfers will come. These are the things you should remember. What will come under capital account? External assistance, commercial borrowing, non-resident deposits, foreign investments. In this, FDI, FPI will come. So next one is other flows. These are the things you should remember, because UPSC may ask which will come under capital account, which will come under current account, capital account. So you should be in a position to easily solve it. This is totally combinedly known as balance of payment. If it is surplus, it is very good to India. If it is deficit, then it is very bad to India. It will hit economy very badly in terms of inflation, in terms of unemployment, in terms of capital flights, in terms of investment. So overall growth will fall. So which are the components I am asking? This is very easy. UPSC will never ask like this. It may ask either under which under current account which will fall, under capital account which will fall, under invisibles which will fall. So it will ask like this. So this is easy, this is easy, this is, so answer is D. Otherwise they may even ask about only foreign portfolio investment. What is foreign portfolio investment? If any investment which is less than 10% in a company, if a company has 100 shares, example, if foreign player comes and buys 9 shares, then it is known as foreign portfolio investment. Okay, these foreign portfolio investment, this guy who is investing, he or any institute or banking institute, anything, foreign owned companies, they will not have any ownership or control in the company they bought 9 shares. Okay, this is the difference between FDI and FPI. FDI will have control of management. FPI will not have any control of management. So who is at risk? FDI is at risk, because if any loss comes, these FDI investors have to face. But FPI is not like that. They don't have to deal with any loss or anything else. They just invested on shares. Tomorrow if they feel these shares will fall, immediately they'll sell off and move. So this is good for the investors. Okay, but for the country this is good, because the FDI investors will come and invest in India, establish company, they will provide employment and they will produce products, so GDP will increase and etc. Everything will increase. But FPI is not like that. FPI will come, invest, buy 9 shares, only 9 shares, because the share value is very high, they will buy. Tomorrow if they feel share value will fall, they will immediately sell and go off. Here these people are not actually contributing directly, though they are indirectly contributing. Means what? How they are indirectly contributing? Because these people are also bringing foreign currency and investing in the company, and they are giving money to the company. This money this company can use to improve their management process or invest in somewhere else, like that. But FDI will bring not only capital money, it will bring technology and efficient management process and etc. But with FPI we have only indirect benefits, not direct benefits, and it is not good. For too much of dependency on FPI will affect India, because if too much investment happens in India, what happens? As the economy is going good, okay, they will be happy, and India also will be happy so much, because they are bringing lot of money. What if economies start to fall? Immediately they will move out of India. They will sell all these shares and they will move out of India. Once they sell all the shares, what happens? Capital flights will happen. Because of capital flights, what happens? Our rupee value will fall. This is known as depreciation. When rupee value falls, what happens? Inflation will increase. Inflation increases, unemployment increases, and growth will be affected. So answer is D here. Anyway, come to the 29th question. Consider the following statements. See, these question why I have asked, because in UPSC in 2018 it just asked Basel III. It deals with which of the following sentences, and one sentence is about climate, one sentence is about education, one sentence is about something, and the last sentence is about banking. Okay, Basel III deals with the banking. This is direct question, but because it has already asked about Basel III like this very easily, the next step will be it will ask questions on the provisions of the Basel III, is definitions of the Basel III. So you should be knowing that is capital adequacy ratio and liquidity coverage ratio. Liquidity coverage ratio means what? Banks should keep little. Imagine bank has 100 rupees as a total amount. Okay, it has to keep at least 6 rupees with banks, so that if 94 rupees goes as NPS, becomes NPS, with the 6 rupees at least it have to run the bank for 30 days. Means what? To run the bank for 30 days, okay, whichever the amount is needed, it have to keep under liquidity coverage ratio. This is about the liquidity coverage ratio. What about capital adequacy ratio? See, bank has 100 rupees, okay, and there are some people, bank will give to this guy 20 rupees, to this guy 20 rupees, okay, so bank has now 60 and 40 with these people as loan it gave. So but this loan may come, may not come back, because if these people invest in good companies, they may get profits and they may repay back. If they go bankruptcy, then they can't repay, right? So these 40 rupees is at risk. So what capital adequacy ratio will say, in this 40, because it is in risk, so you have to keep at least 10% aside, means 4 rupees. Okay, 4 rupees you keep aside, so that if loss comes, you can manage with this 4 rupees. So answer is capital adequacy ratio is a requirement to hold 30 days. It is no. Liquidity is a risk of capital to its risk. It is correct. So definition of this one is here, definition of this one is here. So answer is D. Come to the 38th question. With reference to the Great Hornbill. See, why I have asked this? UPSC in 2016 already it has asked about the Great Hornbill, because at the time it was in news, very much in news. It has asked, that's it, where you will find these Great Hornbill. 1, northwest region. 2, something in central India, like that. Third one I don't remember. Fourth one Western Ghats, like that it has asked. Answer is Western Ghats. Okay, because Great Hornbill was in news, and because its habitat has been destructing. For the same reason, again it is in news in 2021, again 2020 August. So UPSC may, if it want to ask, it will go in depth now, whether this great hornbill is endangered or critically endangered or vulnerable or threatened. It may ask like this. Or this great hornbill is a state bird of which state? Arunachal Pradesh or Kerala or Nagaland? Which one? Because Nagaland celebrates every year Hornbills Festival. Okay, it's a big festival in Nagaland, one of the biggest festival in Nagaland. So you should know which will be the state board of Nagaland. If you think Nagaland, because they are celebrating biggest festival of biggest festival as a Hornbill festival, if you think it is Nagaland state board, then it is wrong, because it is a state board of Arunachal Pradesh and Kerala. Okay, so like this you should be knowing about the great hornbill. So answer is, you remove this. Though Nagaland is celebrating Hornbill festival every year, okay, this is not Nagaland state bird. State bird is Arunachal Pradesh and for Kerala. Arunachal Pradesh and Kerala state bird is great hornbill, and it is vulnerable. Correct. In 2018 they have updated from threatened to vulnerable now, to higher status. So answer is B. So that's it for today. Till now we have completed 30 topics, 30 various different topics and most important topics, and in relation with the UPSC questions and how UPSC asks, like that we have covered most important topics. And tomorrow we will be doing 10 or 20 questions. So till then, bye. Thank you.